Hi everyone, today I'm joined by Bruno Dubois. Bruno and I worked together way back in 2004 during the Vendée Globe when he was manager of North Sails France and built most of the boats, Sails at that time. He went on to successfully manage two Volvo Ocean Race campaigns for the Chinese teams, winning in 2017, 18, and more recently he's taken over as the team manager for SailGP France. So welcome, Bruno.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Good
Good
afternoon.
to see you.
Nice
And
to see you.
I guess after yesterday's news during the Vendée Globe, probably Jean Le Cam and Kevin Escoffier have been all over the French media today, I'm sure.
Quite amazing, yeah. I think they did a good job, and President Macron gave them called them today, and he said that he's a big fan of Jean Le Cam, and it was amazing because in French you can say tu or vous. If you're really polite, you say vous. Normally for president you say vous, and Jean say tu. it's, and he told him, look, yes, we can, and it was quite good. Jean is a super pro. He's really good. Both of them, I think the rescue was quite amazing.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about Kevin because obviously you know him very well. Sailed and recruited him for the Volvo Ocean Race. Uh, his reactions seemed incredible. I mean, I guess you weren't surprised in any way.
No, if I think Kevin is very strong. During the Volvo Ocean Race, we had a sport psychologist working with us to just try to predict the unpredictable, and that's how I think we managed to get a pretty good team, good spirit together, and Kevin keep working with the same guy after preparing for the Vendée Globe, and I think he's very strong. He's very strong physically, but very strong in his head too. So I would have said the only reason why Kevin would have dropped out of the Vendée Globe if it's his boat sunk, and that's what happened, unfortunately. But he's not the kind of guy who would stop because his rudder is damaged or his sail is damaged, or he's we call him MacGyver on board. He's
Yeah,
very good. He can do everything.
he can fix everything.
So you know he's
So
good.
yeah, very very tough. And his the way he came across both in the interviews afterwards and with John Le Cam, you could see very emotional, but still very together. When a lot of people I think you know would have struggled with that experience, but he just came across so calm, so cool, so collected really.
Yeah, he told me just before the start that his biggest challenge was to bring the boat in one piece because he knew that boat was old and they made a lot of modification to the boat, and each time the boat raised, they had some issue with the boat. So he was a bit nervous about that, but he was relieved, huh? By the way, when he jumped on Jean Le Cam's boat, he was relieved. So he will be home for Christmas. His wife is happy and he's safe and he will go back.
Yeah.
He's not the kind of guy who will just drop and go back to something different. He will be back for the next one with probably with a new boat, I guess. I hope that for him, in fact.
Yeah. So you've been managing teams for some time now, with in the ocean racing world as well as in your professional world. Um, what if you were on the other side? Taking that phone call from a team member. What's it like to receive a message like that, and what goes through your mind as the team manager?
Well, we work on that before, and by the way, this is a drill that we have to go through and the normal procedure, and first of all, we have to look at who we have to call first, and the family first, obviously, and then the sponsor, and after that the press, and because we have to control that, and during the Volvo Ocean Race we've done a bit the same with between the two Volvo Ocean Race. I work with Frank Camas on the America's Cup project with Groupama Team France, and we had a procedure if something happened, if somebody fall on the water and has an injury because of the foil or the rudder, and so we have a very strong procedure. It's the same in SailGP. I think if somebody falls on the water, there is some procedure to follow. But when it's in the ocean, it's really, really hard. And as a sailor, I was not too worried about it. But it's since I'm on shore now, when I follow the Volvo Ocean Race or the Vendée Globe, or even with my son-in-law with the Figaro, I don't sleep very well anymore. So it's
Yeah, you've been involved closely with the technical developments in professional racing, for some time. What do you think we'll learn from yesterday going forward?
well, the IMOCA is an open class, and it's one of the last open class in the world. Everything is going one design. With SailGP, we are one design, but it's a development one design that when we change for everybody. But
Yep.
one thing we know is that we need to keep going. There's not that, compared to other Vendée Globe, I think, the damage are very small so far. There's a couple of big storms we went through, and the boats are fine. And I think we need to keep developing, because look at, the future with foil for, and the wing for cargo ship. And
Yep.
it's important that we keep going, because it is a very sustainable sport, and we're helping with the technology and what we're developing. We're helping I think the marine industry overall.
Yep.
And I think it has to go through it. Okay, for some people will say, well, we should be safer, should not have foil and everything, but you're not going to go back in the fin in the Olympic. Everybody will go kite surfing. That's the way it is. Young people want to play, and it's not about spending a lot of money and going fast. It's about developing new project. And look at the Formula One. Look at the crash for Romain Grosjean last weekend.
Yeah,
he's still alive. His car was broken in two. 30 years ago, driver were dying on a race course. Here now it's not, and it's because they spend more money and more time in developing. But what I learned again from yesterday, and it's, don't take it wrong, okay? It could be seen arrogant, but I would say we cannot go cheap.
No, I think I agree with you. I mean, I think this race, historically has been very difficult to finish, since its conception. And yes, perhaps in the sort of mid 2000 or early 2000, when the boats became extremely powerful and beamy, they were wanting to make some changes to the rule to make the boats a bit safer. But fundamentally, it is a development class, and personally, it shouldn't be so easy to finish a race like this. Yes, of course, we've got to keep people safe, but I think part of the ambience of this race is the fact that it is so tough to finish.
And it's tough to take the start also.
And it's tough to take the start. It's been really good, Bruno. So let's have a quicker look at the conditions at the moment. So this was the tracking positions and the weather this morning. And what do you think? I don't know if you've been looking sort of at the front of the fleet and what they're going through at the moment.
I think Charlie has done a very good job, very safe all the time, and he's got a pretty good lead. So I guess he will try to be conservative. I'm very impressed by Louis Burton and the way he's sailing. It's the boat who won the last race, but he still have the same foil. He changed the rake system, but he still have the same foil as before, and small foil. And the boat is fine. He's going fast, and he's taking some risk by going south. But when you look at his track, he did a very good job. And he always did well, Louis, but never in the top three. And here he's doing fine. And with Alex gone and Jeremy so far, I think he's got something to play. And with Thomas has problem with his foil, one of his foil, and the same with I heard today, similar problem for Sébastien Simon.
Okay.
So the boat from the last generation, they have something to play here in this race. But Charlin is He's
Well,
the boss. That's for sure.
interestingly, when we look at the tracking from 4 years ago, which I've got here, this was after 24 days, so the same amount of time. And you can see, they had more favourable conditions in the South Atlantic. But interestingly, if you look at where sort of Francois Gabart's previous boat was in 2012 and where some of those older generation boats are, they're almost in exactly the same spot this time round. Of course,
Yeah.
The new foilers there, Armel Leclerc and Alex, were quite considerably further ahead. But the weather forecasts for this edition of the race has meant that these older generation boats have been very competitive.
Yeah, I think and also, they made some change on the boat they can play with the rake, and I think the boat are more competitive and people have more experience also. So I think there's a group of 10 boats with Sam Davis and, and obviously Jean is still there. And there's another IMOCA, who is, by the way, the old BT.
Yes.
He's doing pretty well overall.
Doing really well. Yeah, very, very competitive. So we'll just run through the forecast for the next few days. So this is lunchtime tomorrow, and then lunchtime Friday, and then into Saturday. A big sort of complex high pressure around the bottom of South Africa, which is potentially going to open up a big split between the boats, the current leaders and perhaps the second and third group who don't get through. Is that is that something that you're seeing as well with this race?
Yeah. And I'm looking at more. Sodebo is doing the Jules Verne Trophy right now, and the poor guys, they're gonna hit this high pressure, and it's pretty low. I think it's amazing how the Saint Helene high pressure is so low. So it's gonna be hard for them to keep going with Videk, I think. But I think the first boats in the Vendée Globe will be gone. They will take, if they can take the low pressure train there, I think they will go for, at least probably until New Zealand, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. This was the routing from Charlie's position. And it does look very much like they stay with this good westerly pressure, sort of flicking between southwest, west, and northwest. And then once they get through the sort of ice line limit, which opens up and allows them to go a bit further south towards the Kerguelen Islands, it as you say, it looks like they've got good pressure all the way to Australia and possibly beyond. But the boats behind there with that high pressure to cross, we may see a big gap between the fleet.
Yeah, I hope some of the guys like Thomas Rouillon will keep going, because I know he's got problem with one of his foil, but he's doing a fantastic job. I think Thomas the boat is good. I don't think it's not a huge budget, but Marcus is obviously managing that quite nicely. But the boat is fast, and I think with Louis Burton and everything, those guys will stay together. That's a good competition for the rest.
Yeah, great. Well, as ever, fantastic to catch up, Bruno, and
Thank you very much, Conrad.
Hopefully we'll be seeing lots of you in Plymouth next year for the SailGP.
Yeah, we'll be there in July. Yeah.
So that was Bruno Dubois. Fantastic to have his experience joining us, looking at the Vendée Globe today. He did mention that Jean Le Cam and Kevin Escoffier were in conversation with Monsieur President today. Have a look at this.
Bonjour Président.
Bonjour. Non, ça va mieux là?
Ouais, ça va mieux. Désolé, on déroge un peu aux règles de confinement en vigueur en ce moment. On se retrouve à deux, mais c'est pour la bonne cause.
Ouais. Vous avez passé combien de temps, vous, en mode survie là, Kevin?
Une douzaine d'heures. Une douzaine. J'ai pris dans une vague. Et dans la vague, le bateau habituellement ressort. Et là, au lieu de ressortir, le bateau s'est replié à 90. Et c'est comme si on ouvrait les vannes d'un barrage, quoi. L'eau est rentrée dans le bateau et s'est montée très très vite. Donc j'ai eu très peu de temps pour réagir. Donc dans ma tête, j'étais parti pour rester plus longtemps. Et psychologiquement, ça m'a aidé à tenir, quoi.
Oh la vache, 12 heures quand même.
Et j'ai tenu, voilà, en me disant, je savais que les conditions météo allaient s'améliorer, donc je me suis dit ça va s'améliorer, donc il n'y a pas de raison que ça ne le fasse pas. Mais l'histoire se termine bien parce que les 12 heures passées dans le radeau, je peux vous assurer qu'on a un peu le temps de gamberger quand même.
Ouais, je veux bien le croire.
En tout cas, ça nous a fait plaisir que vous nous appeliez. Alors j'imagine que vous avez d'autres sujets de préoccupation.
Ouais, mais franchement, ça m'a tellement. D'abord, j'en étais rassuré pour vous, et puis voilà, je suis un grand admirateur de Jean, donc je voulais lui dire que chapeau une fois encore. Hein. On est hyper fiers, hyper heureux pour Kevin et vous, et pour toute sa famille, et hyper fiers de ce que vous avez fait.
Ok, bon bah super, merci de nous avoir passé un petit moment ensemble.
Ah, ça m'a fait super plaisir, et je peux vous dire que ça me fait du bien aussi.
Et donc, Monsieur le Président, yes, we come.
Je le sais, et allez jusqu'au bout, Jean. Et merde pour la suite.
Ok, merci.
Salut à tous les deux, bonne mère et merci. Hein.